There are lots of places to go to for help. Specifically, I would also add state societies. There are always CPE that you can get, AICPA, there's always CPE that you can get. And I just think we have to have the will to want to do it.
Hello! This is CPA Career Path Podcast with Rosey Flaherty, CPA MSA, where we dive into thrilling journeys in the world of accounting.
How your parents raised you as well to be a very strong and successful woman. I love it. That's very important about like how you grow up and then the childhood and the parent, how your parents affect your whole life. So that's amazing. So talking about Oracle for 16 years and 6 months, you work over there and you move up in different roles within the same company. Can you share with the audience what are best lessons that you have learned from each time you got promoted, and also what challenges that you faced during that time?
Oh, so interesting. Well, one of the first things I learned is that there is a difference between activity and results, because results are outcomes that you intentionally helped achieve. And so you want to add value. There's no trying. There's no, I was thinking about it. This didn't happen. Make it happen. I learned a lot about selling at Oracle. I think in previous roles, what I thought was selling was not really an intentional acumen and skill set about bringing forth revenue. And I think I learned quite a bit about that inside a performance-driven culture. And so when you're working in a performance-driven culture, you know that it's about your accountability for the results that you drive and achieve. And I learned a lot about working hard, building relationships in a matrixed environment, and at the same time, holding myself accountable for metrics and being very quantifiable about the things that I achieved, developing an elevator pitch and making sure I shared the things that I did with the leaders that probably may not have even known that I did those things, but I made sure they knew because I think it's important to make sure people know. And it worked out. And so because I'm a person that will roll up my sleeves and get in and fix it and problem solve and build relationships with people that other people thought relationships couldn't be made with, I was able to really do some really cool and incredible things. And I really appreciated my time at Oracle, because it was just one more thing, I would say, in my skill set that needed to be really formed out even more. And working at Oracle allowed me to do that.
Interesting. And also, how about challenges that you faced during the time you work at Oracle?
So the challenges are always going to be there in a matrixed environment, because in a matrixed environment, you don't have positional authority over people. People have to work with you because you sold them on why it's in their best interest to work with you. How if you are someone else working with them, they can achieve their objectives that much faster. And then imagine doing that not just in North America, but doing that globally. And I think that's always a challenge when people are trying to figure out who you are and are you going to be the one that's going to help them not be fired, and can they trust you? Building trust in an environment that is moving at the speed of change is always going to be important, especially when you're someone that may not be traditionally what they would expect to see in a technology-centric environment, in a technology, I should say, solutions environment.
I noticed that you mentioned multiple times during our discussion about building relationships from your government job to the current job as well. So I know that building relationship is very important and also is very time consuming and takes a lot of effort as well. Can you share some tips and advice? How do you build relationship? I think a lot of people, they get nervous even to just start the relationship in the career, like making connections, starting the conversation, and also like introduce themselves. And also another element, it is about maintain that relationship. That's something a lot of people say, oh, I already introduced myself, now what? So can you share some tips how people, like especially for young professionals, how do they start the relationship and maintain the relationship throughout their career?
Well, the first thing, Rosie, is, and I say this to students all the time, when someone says link in or please follow up with me, take them at their word. If they say, I would love to follow up with you. It's a really long question. Don't really have time here, but if you call me offline, we can definitely have the conversation. There should be no time before they're actually sending that LinkedIn request. And I think that once they send a LinkedIn request, they should ask for time on that person's schedule and say, give broad ranges of flexibility. It could be early in the morning. It could be late at night. Because if you really want to catch someone, like say if someone wanted to catch me, they might not catch me during the day because my calendar is planned out months and months in advance. But generally speaking, around 10 o'clock at night, I am reading email or I am catching up on the news of the day. And so if someone said, Kimberly, I'd love to speak with you. And I'm like, oh, I don't know when. It might be November before we can talk at 1 o'clock. But if they said, Kimberly, even if it's after hours, and if you're on the way to the airport or if you're in the airport, I'm flexible. I'm willing to talk to you anywhere I can talk with you. That person is probably going to catch me a lot faster. So they have to offer broad ranges of flexibility so that that person knows that they're serious about catching up with them. Now, I have relationships with people that will say things on my posts. I've never met them probably in person. They've seen me on LinkedIn. They wish me a happy birthday. They will things like I got an award. They'll say, oh, Kimberly, congratulations. They are establishing a digital relationship with me. And it's so interesting because and some of those people, I've gone to conferences and they were like, I'm so-and-so. And I'm like, yes, I remember you. You just wished me happy birthday. So you can do it. It takes a little more time to do it digitally, but it's also a way for people to, through repeated, consistent behavior, notice you. And people will notice you if you are constantly in there and you're giving them support. And you're giving them congratulations because then they'll turn around and start doing it with you. And I just think it's consistent. It doesn't have to be every day. And most people, they may not have time on the third Tuesday at, 8 o'clock in the morning to meet you for Starbucks. But if you need them, you can also reach out to them. And so it's a different type of mentee, sponsor, coach relationship that people are trying to do these days. And I think it's not conventional.
I agree. Mentor, mentee, sponsors, all different definition. And I know that I have multiple conversation on this podcast saying the difference between being a sponsor and being a mentor. But because you just mentioned about that, can you just remind audience what the difference between a mentor and a sponsor?
Well, and someone said this to me and I loved it. They said that mentors talk to you, coaches talk with you, sponsors talk about you. And so it's really hard to ask someone to be your sponsor. But I think what happens is that after them getting to know you from a mentee perspective or as a coach for an interview or helping you through your resume or helping you think about your next opportunities or some other problem that you're having, when they hear of something that relates to what you spoke with them about, they won't mind speaking up on your behalf because they will have helped you and seen your character, your willingness to work, your ability to get up in the face of disappointment, grit. Those are the types of things that people are willing to put their own credibility on the line for and be a sponsor. But most of the time, many people will find themselves with mentors and coaches, and through time and through just demonstration, they can get that person to be a sponsor for them. And so I think it's just really important to have all three.
Gotcha. So it's mentor, coach, and sponsor. It's not just mentor and sponsor. So now we know that we have the third one. It is coach as well. That's good to know. And when you mentioned about one of the best lessons from Oracle, you mentioned about speed of change. And I feel like at this time, at this moment, the speed of change is faster than ever. And with that speed of change, a lot of people concerned that, oh my God, how can I catch up? What can I do every day to make sure that I'm not behind with other people, behind with the technology, behind with AI? And it's like, no, it's a lot of times people get nervous that, oh no, AI is going to take over, not just accounting industries, but other industries as well. What am I going to do? What would you say to people about speed of change, how they adapt to it, and what can they do to bring yourself up to date with the speed of change?
That's a great point. I would tell you in today's environment, technology is non-negotiable. So people have to figure out what their focus area is. They can have a primary area, a secondary area, but technology is here. It's already here. The horse is out of the barn. So we have to keep up if we're going to help identify opportunities. We're going to help identify strategies. We're going to look at risk in different ways. They're all tech centric in a lot of cases, not always, but there's some people oriented ones and process oriented ones, but a lot of them are technology specific. And threat actors are only getting more and more aggressive in their ability to wreak havoc inside of organizations. So if we're going to maintain the highest levels of competence, we're going to maintain the highest levels of integrity, we're going to be out there continuously learning, we have to add technology to those things. Now, do you have to be overwhelmed by it? No. Do you have to learn it like you went to school to be an IT professional? No. But you do have to know enough to be dangerous. And there are so many sites and places where you can get information, from McKinsey to Gartner to the big, 50 accounting firms. There are professional services firms. There are education sites, so many places, LinkedIn Learning. There's no reason not to have at least some basic acumen on technology, but don't be overwhelmed by trying to learn it all. I think 20 to 30 minutes a day of learning something and enhancing your learning is very beneficial. And even if you say, well, Kimberly, I don't learn like that. I can't do a podcast, can't read a book. That's not how I learn. Then you could go back to your school, wherever you went, and get one of those certificates. Because I think a lot of schools are starting certificate programs if they haven't already gotten one, and they are refreshing the degrees that their alum achieved at that school. So there are lots of places to go to for help. Specifically, I would also add state societies. There are always CPE that you can get, AICPA, there's always CPE that you can get. And I just think we have to have the will to want to do it. And I will tell us that we have no choice. We have to lead from the front. We always do. I have no doubt that we will rise to the occasion, but we can't sit back and wait, because otherwise someone else will try to be us. And we don't want anybody to try to be us.
Yeah, especially for achiever. We don't like get beaten.
No.
We want
Not
to be
even.
the winner.
Yes, always.
Always. And it seems like you, besides of working at Oracle, and then you also published your book as well, Tailor Your A Game.
It's almost finished, Rosey. I put it on delay. I was working on it during the pandemic, and I put it on delay, got busy, and now I'm getting back to it, and because I've got to get it out, because it's a leadership book that I think will help other people frame how they move forward in life. It's what worked for me, and I hope it would work for them as well.
And also, you are a professor as well. Oh my God, you're
am.
doing so many things. So, so
Yes.
when you are a professor, what subjects you teaching?
I'm teaching emerging technology and innovation. So
Oh,
I am
wow.
teaching a lot about thinking differently, because I think we get trained to think in patterns and silos. And I think we have to think differently to take advantage of new opportunities. And so I talk a lot about the business case, change leadership, innovation, not just technology, the technology framework, that even if something else in 3 years comes out and it's not Gen AI and it's not agentic AI and it's some other version of AI, if you have a framework in place, you will be able to consume and lead with that technology, regardless of whatever it is. And I think that's more important than also just teaching to the technology. It's more about the frame and how you leverage the opportunity.
It sounds really interesting. Can I just sit in the class?
Listen, I'll have the Carnegie Mellon people call you.
That would be fun. And besides all of that, you also involved in so many volunteering activities, state society, AICPA, board of directors in multiple positions, and you also even the founder of, is that Chef? Did I say the
Chief,
name right? Chief, yeah, Chief DC. It's funny because I interview another founder member as well.
there are lots of chiefs out there. I think it has really taken on a life of its own. Lots of momentum,
Yeah.
lots of
Yeah.
amazing fellow chiefs out there across the country.
That's just amazing. Oh, Amy Horner. You probably know her.
Oh, I know Amy. Dr. Amy Horner. Yes.
Yes, Dr. Horner now. Woohoo! So with all of the volunteering activities and then all the payback to community theory or like time, what motivates you to do all of this work, and what do you feel like what you get from all these volunteering activities?
You know what? I really believe that to whom much is given, much is required. And I think I have an opportunity, an obligation to give back. So many people help me. I grew up in the inner city of Baltimore. What if I was able to inspire someone from the inner city, from any city, and help them move forward in their career, or help someone who just needs that little bit of inspiration? So I think it's based on what I said earlier, I'm faith, driven. I try to live a purpose driven life. And I think it's important to me to give back and to help communities that I really want to see prosper and grow, because I sincerely think we all can do well. We all can do well. And it doesn't matter what's happening in the environment. I'm consistent because I have faith. And I know that everything happens for a reason in the season, and that my opportunity is to be focused on being purpose driven.
So what would you recommend young professionals about all those activities? What should they do to involve in, and also how can they manage their time to participate as much as they can?
Well, it depends on what their purpose is. I mean, some people would love to work with young people. Some people like to work with people who might have special needs. Some people like food uncertainty. They might like working with people who have housing uncertainty. It depends on what would make you get out of bed, Rosie, and it wouldn't feel like work. And that's where you spend your time. Because I do the things I love, it doesn't feel like work. Education and leveling the playing field is a passion for me. It never feels like work. I could be tired and someone could say, Kimberly, we need you to get on here and talk for 20 minutes. And I would get up at 10 o'clock at night and talk for 20 minutes because it does not feel like work. So I think every person has to figure out what their passion is so that they will be motivated to do it, and you're self-directed. No one has to tell you to do it. No one is asking you to do it. You do it because you want to do it.
I love it because they say that when you love what you do, it doesn't seem like you work for 1 hour, 1 second.
Not at all. Not at all. And I just think that maybe I'm making a difference. Maybe not. I don't know, but I prefer to think that I'm making a difference, and maybe I won't know for 5 years or 10 years, but I know that God sees what I do. And I think that's important to me.
And you also a keynote speaker as well. Oh my God, you do everything. I'm just curious, how did you put yourself in the role of the keynote speaker? What was the first event, if you recall, as a keynote speaker?
Well, keep in mind, I've been speaking my whole career. I mean, in different roles and capacities. Maybe it's a meeting room. Maybe it's giving a project update. Maybe it's sharing some update on initiatives that we're planning, but we're always speaking. The audiences, however, just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it really started really getting bigger when I was at Motorola, when I went to KPMG, when I went to Oracle. But meanwhile, I was a leader. I was the chair of the Maryland Association of CPAs, larger audience. So I've been volunteering in the profession, volunteering in the community, getting good speaking experience, and at the same time, working on the acumen of speaking. I even took a speech class, and I think that's important too. We reviewed speeches from famous people who speak a lot and who are really held up as great orators. And I think over time, it just became something that I was very, very comfortable with because I was doing it so much in every role, and with every increasing leadership role, more speaking, more speeches, to the point that someone said, Kimberly, we'll pay you to come. And that was outside of working. for another company. That was me working for myself. And so that was awesome and a great opportunity.
So you took speech classes. Did you do any Toastmaster meetings at all?
I have done Toastmasters, probably not as long as my colleagues who are experts in Toastmasters would like, but I have taken Toastmasters. I did take, it was actually an academic speech class, a public speaking class on speeches. Because remember, and you didn't say this, but I'm also a technical writer. So you have to be able to write a speech and speak to a speech, speak a speech. So I think that each area of verbal and written communication adds to my overall, I think, package as Katie.
Your package has a lot to offer. Oh my God. Kimberly, how do you find time to do all of this? We have 24 hours per day, and then you have kids, you have family, you have job, and then you still do volunteering activities, board member, speech, author, professor. Seriously, how do you manage your time? And also manage your energy as well. I think it's very important, time and energy.
100%. I think it's will. I mean, just think about will. I think at the end of the day, for my sons, I would want them to say, I'm proud of my mom. And think of your son and how proud he's going to be of you. Look at all of the things you're doing. Look at the impact you're making, Rosey. You are making an impact. One person, 50 people, 100 people, whoever's listening to your podcast, and you have had some amazing podcasts, you're making a difference in the world. And your son is going to be proud of you.
Thank you for saying that. That's very sweet of you. But yeah, I think the challenge that a lot of people facing with is that they want to do so many things, but they don't have enough time to do it. And then they get exhausted after work, because I still remember that when I work at a prior CPA firm, we have a state society event. And I was like, hey, we have this event. You want to go with me? And the response I received is that I'm tired after work. I don't want to go out. I just want to go home and just rest. And then I received a question back like, how do you find all this energy to just go out after working 8 hours or like 10 hours? I was like, I don't know. It's just fun going out and talk to people.
Well, that's because people fuel me, because I am an extrovert like you, Rosey. And so I just think that for people that we want to go out with us, we got to give them notice. Can't spring it on them. Got to give them notice so that they can fix their day to be able to really plan it in. I think people have to plan to do events like that because they might find them are energy drainers. And we have to figure out how to operate in an environment with multiple different communication and personality styles. And what I've tried to do is give people a lot of notice to say, hey, in 6 months, we're going to have this program, and it would mean a lot if you could come. And I think that that is one thing we can do. The other thing we have to do is make it something they're interested in coming to, because people will come to things that they're really interested in. And sometimes they don't find interest in the same things that we would. So I think it's a matter of asking what would make you want to come to an event after work.
That's so true. Yep. And then another time that we had an event with free game, free food. Ooh, the whole office coming.
Exactly. So
That's
you just never
interesting.
know. Yes.
Yeah, I
So
know.
thank you, Rosie, for inviting me, because I've seen all the other amazing people. So now it's my turn. So thank you.
Thank you so much for being on this podcast. Before I let you go, I just want to have the very last question that can you just summarize the best 3 to 5 tips to our young professionals throughout this podcast? We discuss about a lot of great tips and lessons.
One, I would say it is persistence. I decided I was going to be a CPA in the 3rd grade. And although people tried to talk me out of it, I stuck to it. So very persistent. 2, relationship building, because you never know what someone might say about you when you're not in the room. And I've had so many leaders pull me along and speak my name in rooms I've never been in. And that has helped me tremendously. And then 3, I would talk about volunteerism and the skills that I've most needed in life: conflict management, event planning, project management, speaking in front of people. All of those are skills that I have really enhanced by volunteerism. And I appreciate those 3 things. And I'm sure there are other things, but those are the things that really stick out to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for your time today. Great to talk to you. Bye bye.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rosie.